a very random video for you today. Check this hoodie out, bro. Look at that. It's tight, right? Illuminating. Sick. Anyway, I have some thoughts that I wanted to share. I just had a cool ass fucking conversation with my mom. I was talking with her yesterday about Terrence Howard and his contributions to both math and physics and geometry and, just, life, to be honest. And we expounded on some things that really gave me a lot of perspective. Um, Starting with his concept of multiplication, right? If you were to multiply, historically, if you were to multiply 0 times 7, you have been taught that 0 times 7 is 0. And that would be correct. But if you were to change that up a bit and say 7 times 0 is 0, you would be incorrect because this is multiplication. This is multiplication. You start with 7, you multiply by 0, which means you don't multiply anything, but you don't lose anything because this is not subtraction, it's multiplication, right? So if you multiply 7 by 0, meaning you multiply the original 7 by the next number, you shouldn't end up with 0 because you didn't subtract anything. That's what would make the most sense. What we have been taught is a fallacy. Anything times 0 is 0. But that doesn't make any sense. That makes no sense at all. 0 is a negative integer. It should be viewed as a negative integer. If you look at when someone counts, when you count things, do you start at 0? Do you point at the first thing and say 0? Or do you point at the first thing and say 1? So then why in other areas of mathematics are we counting 0 as a positive integer? That doesn't make any sense. If I say, again, 5 times 0 is 0, that doesn't make any sense. If you start with 5, you're not subtracting, or else you're not doing multiplication. You're doing subtraction. That's a totally different mathematical operation, right? Does that make sense? So like, and furthermore, my mom brought this point up to me. She said, multiplication is not even necessarily like a real operation. It's just a quick way to do addition. And when she said that shit, I was like, holy fuck. She's right. She's right. When you say that you're multiplying, you're really just doing quick forms of addition. Right? 5 times 5. 25, right? But that's been beat into you and you're skipping steps of a thing. You're really just adding 5 to itself 5 times. That is addition. So with those terms in mind, when you multiply a positive integer by a negative integer, aka 0, that is dumb. The things that we have taught about that don't make sense. You don't subtract things from a multiplication scenario. But that's what we were taught in school with no explanation that makes any sense. We were just given the concept of this is what the correct answer is, which is a lot of academia. I've talked about academia and how I feel about it a lot. But that's pretty widespread when it comes to history, when it comes to a lot of parts of the education system. You see a thing where you're just you're not learning, you're being programmed, right? You're being programmed. So is that learning or is that programming? Learning allows you to figure out things on your own. Programming tells you information and cautions you against thinking anything but that, or questioning what you've been taught. That's not learning. That's being programmed. And I mean, you know, the people, the family that created the educational system that we are currently under, very much said that they weren't trying to create thinkers. They were trying to create, for all intents and purposes, slaves, but they say workers. The Rockefeller family. I know people talk about them a lot. They are not the top of the quote unquote pyramid, but like, I mean, if anything, they're like the guards. They're like the slavers for the people that actually own the shit and do the shit. You know, I just find it very interesting how immediately after Terrence Howard, who will tell you himself he's not in those fields directly, but he's not a slouch. He knows shit, and he owns many patents using his interpretation of mathematics, using his interpretation of physics. And these companies are using his fuck. These companies are using his patents but calling him crazy at the same time, and they're sending out their fucking weirdo lackeys to try to embarrass him or discredit him in the public eye, but they'll pay him for his patents. Why do you think he doesn't really have to act anymore? You feel what I'm saying? Why do you think he doesn't really need to act anymore? Where's his money coming from? Right? Does he seem like he has low class taste after being an actor for so many years and making millions of dollars, making entertainment that many have enjoyed? Nah, bruh. That dude's still bougie. I'm not gonna split hairs. I respect him very much, but like, you know, he likes money. I'm not saying that he's purely driven by that by any means, because obviously he's not. He's putting his neck on the line physically. Like, someone might try to kill him over this shit. You're fucking with the fundamentals of math and physics. They don't like that. They don't like that shit at all. Because then once you do that, once you question those things and people say, oh, fuck, multiplication is stupid. And it's wrong. Once you do that and you get people thinking along those lines, what do you think's going to happen with other people and other forms of thought and operation, psychology, you know, philosophy? Like, people that talk like this, even myself, people that talk like this, you are not safe. You know, not to say that every single person that speaks about things that are anti are going to be murdered or anything like that, but like, it's not the desired effect of studying. Like, it's not the desired effect is not that you revolutionize or try to point out the shortcomings of current academic standards. That's just kind of what it is. Academia wants things to stay the same so that they can keep, you know, doing their accreditation scams and donor scams and getting people to pay thousands upon millions of dollars for essentially nepotism, because many people get degrees and can't do shit with it. I know a microbiologist that works at a fucking barbecue restaurant. I know a marine biologist who also works at the same fucking barbecue restaurant. What sense does that make? They spent easily $100,000. They spent easily $100,000 to work at a fucking barbecue restaurant. Do you know that there are people that just skipped the line and went straight to the barbecue restaurant? That's fucking crazy. This person is a marine biologist and can make you a mean ass pulled chicken sandwich And this other person didn't do none of that shit and can also make you a mean ass pulled chicken sandwich. The difference is this person over here has to pay back, probably, I would guess, somewhere between $100 to $300 a month for student loans. This person over here is struggling because inflation is real and the food is too high and it's poison and there's recalls and all kinds of shit. So it's not to say that their life is much easier at this point, but they're not paying $100 to $300 to some fucking private loan for a piece of paper that did them no good, right? I argued with what's funny is my mom's smart, but sometimes she's like still goofy. I argued with my mom a few months ago. She was saying that it was dumb that people were choosing to get, you know, certifications like HVAC and plumbing certifications, welding, underwater welding, and all that shit instead of going to college. And my question to her was, how many people currently that you see graduating, if they even get to that point of graduation, that are able to use their degrees in the ways that they envisioned when they enrolled in school? I don't know the direct number, but just off of experience, it's low. It's very low. It's been that way too. That's not new shit. There's plenty of people, including my mom, I think, who graduated with a degree in a specific thing, but they couldn't find any jobs in that thing, so they took what they could in the moment. And you could argue that that's open market or whatever the fuck, but that's dumb. I'm sorry, but that's dumb. I digressed, but essentially, our mathematics is flawed, and that's not being addressed directly. And you can see agents of academia directly trying to like quiet that, and that, I think that's very funny. I think it's very funny and very obvious, and you can almost kind of tell those who have the capacity to see past programming, not necessarily saying that everything that Terrence Howard or other outward and new thinkers say is correct, but they're open-minded to hearing it. They're open to stress testing it. I've said that many times. I'm not trying to, proclaim that I'm right about everything, but I do like thinking. I like thinking. I like questioning. And I have an open call for, beings to come into the comments and question, or for us to, we can talk. We can talk, publicly in video. I've never been afraid of that. Not at all. I just don't really get too many people that bite. But fact of the matter is, and I know that you may view this as being late to the party or whatever, but I don't really like, too often being a part of like the viral shit. But I have talked about Terrence Howard before. I respect him very much for his contributions to things and for his contribution to thinking outside of the programming. That's so beneficial to what is important and paramount right now. If you just accept shit, like, you're kind of a part of the problem, especially if you're one of those that don't just accept shit but will like try to argue somebody down who's like, hey, you know what, I think multiplication is kind of stupid. Actually, our math is fucked up. If multiplication is fucked up, go look into Terrence Howard's observations on mathematics. You don't even have to get into the Platonic solids and physics and his contributions to flight and shit like that. Just stick to the mathematics. Just stick to the mathematics. Like, fact of the matter is, it's almost like writing. There's like a mathematical grammar that we have been taught to ignore. There is a mathematical grammar. If I say 0 times 7 is 0. 0 multiplied, I don't like that times word anymore. That's kind of how they pulled this off. 0 multiplied by 7 is 0. then you are correct because you started with 0. But if you say 7 multiplied by 0 is 0, you are incorrect because you started with 7. Where did those 7 go? Where did the 7 go? They just disappeared, so this is subtraction now. The fundamentals of shit we have been taught are fucking stupid. And we were taught to not question it. And I'm sure they were fucking laughing. You know what I mean? In the background. I'm sure they were fucking laughing like these idiots said 0 times 7 is 0. But then when they, reverse the shit, they think it's the same thing. That's crazy to me. And I'm not trying to say that as if I'm better than anyone else. I fell for that shit too. The difference is I'm trying to come out of it. I'm trying to come out of it as open-minded and as modestly as possible. I'm not trying to say I'm fucking any kind of special being or I'm smarter than you or any type of shit like that. I would just like for us all to be thinking in this direction. That is the main way that we can get out of this while we're stuck here. Because we are stuck here. We are stuck here. Once you start to think down these types of roads, you start to notice things. It's not just about math, historical fallacies. Historical fallacies. How many historical fallacies are there? When you really go and look into specific things, and I've talked about this before, fucking dinosaurs. I'm not saying that there weren't creatures that existed and now don't exist. What I'm saying is, look at the specifics that were taught to you. Dinosaurs were pushed very, very hard in in early stages of development. But when you go look into the specifics of paleontology, a lot of that shit's fucking fake, dog. A lot of that shit's fake as fuck. They use chicken bones and shit to make dinosaurs that you go see in museums. Did you know that? Chicken bones. They use fragments of bones to make shit look how they want it to look. There's an episode of Rick and Morty. I fucking love that show. There's an episode of Rick and Morty that basically makes fun of that principle. They keep going to different countries, or different worlds, I mean, and they keep showing the different perspectives on how it would be to try to piece together these creatures' bones with such a lack of interpretation and perception of what they actually were. They put them together in all different types of ways, and those societies truly believed that they understood what those beings were from their bones. We're the same. We're the same. We don't fucking know. Until you see one, you don't fucking know. I've seen people like, piece together, oh, this is what a fucking Tyrannosaurus would sound like. I actually saw one that was pretty good recently. I will say that. I always try to give credit where credit's due. They took the audio of a very fucking large alligator or crocodile, one of the two. And they were like, based on this is what we think a Tyrannosaurus would sound like. And that's if that shit even existed. To be honest, when you go back far enough, they don't talk about fucking dinosaurs. They talk about dragons. When you go back far enough in quote unquote ancient texts and old historical texts, they don't talk about fucking dinosaurs. They talk about dragons. Right? When they start talking about dinosaurs, the 1800s, early to mid 1800s. When did the public school system start? When did the public school system start? You know what I mean? I'm just saying, dude. Like, I just see, the whole reason I decided to make this video, outside of the really fucking cool conversation I had with my mom about mathematics, and she instantly understood. My mom is not someone that is easily swayed by new thought, because she comes from another generation. They were heavily hit with propaganda. Kwanzaa, fucking, she went through segregation. She went through the civil rights movement, like heavily hit with CIA shit. Their whole generation was heavily fucking hit with CI. So she still watches the news. We can't talk about politics. We do, and we end up arguing and shit, but I don't like it. So we can't talk about politics and shit because she's very, very impressionable. But when we talked about this Terrence Howard observation on math, I didn't have to say much at all. She was like, oh shit, multiplication is stupid. And I was like, yep, fucking dumb. And then she started to say shit. She's the one that came up with the concept, not the interim name that I gave it, but mathematical grammar. Mathematical grammar. 0 times 7 is 0, but 7 times 0 is not. It's 7. Do you understand? If you start with 0 and you multiply it by whatever, it doesn't matter because you started with nothing. You started with nothing. But if you start with something, you can't just take away those integers. You can't just take away the 5 or the 7 or the 20 or whatever. That's subtraction. So, like, I guess my point is that I have a sliver of hope because I'm starting to see beings really try to, like, question all of this shit in really meaningful ways. I don't really like Billy Carson. I don't fuck with Billy Carson at all. But he gave Terrence Howard the platform to fully expound on his ideas and to explain himself. And again, like I said, it's not to say that he has a perfect mind, and I don't think he's claiming to. I think he's doing what I'm doing. He's trying to say his ideas out loud so that he can work in concert with others. We're looking for each other. Do you understand? We're looking for each other. If you don't get it, then you're not us. If you don't understand, then you're not us. That's okay. That's okay. But what's not okay is trying to stop that. You'll find very soon that it is not smart to try to stop that. You can't. We're gonna find each other. It's already happening. We're gonna find each other. So trying to, like, stop that is weird, to be honest with you. It's a strange thing it's very desperate, and it reads as desperate when you do it. When you try to argue someone down on something where you don't have a direct stop for what they're presenting, that is super obvious, especially to us. But I think it might be obvious to some of your folks too. Think about how many things we use the current standard of mathematics for. And furthermore, think about what could improve by correcting it. That's one of his points. I don't know if he said that directly, but I know it is. That's one of his points. If you correct these mathematics, think of the things that we're capable of. This dude created a new form of flight just by correcting mathematics. Just by understanding the dynamics of platonic solids. Like, I think that that's really important. And widening the scope, the reason I think it's so important is because not all of us think about that shit. I don't give a fuck about math, dude. Not really. I don't give a fuck about math. I honestly don't like math. Maybe this is the reason why I didn't like math. Maybe this is the reason why it didn't click with me in school, because it never fucking made sense. You just say some shit to me and I'm supposed to be like, huh, okay. That's dumb. I don't like that. I've never liked that. If you've watched even some of my videos, you know I don't fuck with that. You need to tell me, like, the reasons. Make that shit make sense to me. And then I got you. But if you just say some shit because it's supposed to be true, I don't fuck with that at all. Never have. I guess since I was a little kid, because I did not do well in math. I was like, man, fuck this. But yeah, widening the scope. This is important because like we're essentially, not only are we looking for each other, but we're looking to change the experience that we are having in this realm, whatever the fuck it is, because it sucks right now. And if you don't see that, something's wrong with you. I'm not going to say whether you're us or not or whatever the fuck, but if you can't see that, something is fucking wrong with you. You are in denial. It's delusion. This shit ain't cool. It's not cool. If you like this, stay the fuck away from me. If you like this, the way that this is going right now and has been going since before I was born, whatever the fuck that means, I do not want to interact with you actively. I will, because gotta go out public, see people sometimes, but I'm not gonna go out of my way to have meaningful exchange with you, because we are obviously thinking on different frequencies. Yeah. Again, that's not. I don't think any of us are trying to say that we're smarter than anyone. We're just trying to point things out. We're trying to get people to see what we see. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not, patriarchal. It's not narcissistic or any of that shit. I'm not on here because I'm trying to feed some kind of narcissistic urge that I have. In fact, that would make no sense because I have negative stuff happen from these videos. Negative things happen. I don't make any money from this, and I have bad things happen in my life, in my personal life. So if you want to call it narcissistic or some other dumb shit to try to discredit, is ignorant. I'm just going to say that's ignorant shit. It doesn't make any rational sense. I know I talk a lot of shit about religions and stuff like that, but that's only because people mostly just scratch the surface of these things. That's why, for instance, like this symbol. See that? Symbol of Lucifer. Am I a Satan worshiper? No. Did I just say Satan or did I say Lucifer? Am I a Luciferian? Of sorts. Gnostic Luciferian, I guess you could say. But that's not a religion. It's a principle. I like knowledge. Knowledge, Lightbringer, Morning Star. Like, I could say a bunch of words and they won't mean shit to you unless you go find out why I'm saying them in succession about this symbol. Lucifer is an ideology. It's not specific to a religion. It's not specific to a being. It's a thought. It's a concept. It's a principle. Same thing as Illuminati. There's like bad connotations around that word currently, but in the past, the Illuminati were the people that were like, "Hey, Christians are killing a lot of people. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck are we gonna do?" They're trying to keep us from doing science. That's what we gonna do. We're gonna do about this. There's a lot of information out there that's worthwhile, but there's also a lot of information out there that's almost kind of like planted to trip you up or to make you dumb, basically. And we're trained from a very young age to defend that dumb information and not be open to like understanding anything outside of it or to not question it. And that fucking sucks. I don't want my kid to grow up like that. I don't want your kids to grow up like that. If we still have to be here. I mean, it would be real cool if something cool happens and this like breaks, and we can get out. That would be sick. There's a whole lot of promising of that going on right now, and I'm not necessarily a fan of it because it seems like pulling on people's, colloquialism, heartstrings, and utilizing people's hope for something better. I think there are a lot of people that have hope, but they don't realize that they just want to leave here. They don't want to be here. They just don't understand that there are other places to be. You understand? They don't understand that there are other places to be than here. They think this is it. And then that there's some cloudy place in the sky where people dance around in white robes and have fucking halos and shit. That's not. I'm my bad. Uh, anyway, I think many more people should take a look at the things that interest them. I'm not trying to get you to just look at mathematics because I don't. I like I said, I could give no less fucks about mathematics. I don't give a fuck about math. Do we use it every day? Absolutely, we do. It's in everything we have and everything we do. Mathematics is used to design things, build things, make things operate, keep order, quote unquote order. I don't necessarily like that one because if you call this order, then you're an asshole. But mathematics are important, but I'm more of a philosophy person. I'm more of a physics person. I'm more of a anthropological, mind, right? I'm just saying that if you have interests, revisit those interests and make sure that you have the best tools and resources at your discretion. Make sure that you're using the correct mathematics for whatever it is you're into. If you're into history, or do you actually know history? Or do you just have the shit that was taught to you in second grade to, like, I don't know, high school? Because you can even go now and look at what they're teaching kids in school, and it's not the same history that you were taught. Do you know they're teaching kids that dinosaurs had feathers? Do you know that? Do you know they changed that about dinosaurs? They have feathers now, right? Which is arguably closer to the depiction of, I don't know, dragons. I think we're inching toward progress. We're doing somewhat better, and I think that we should be. Um, I think that we should be encouraging each other. If you're wrong, what's the fucking problem with being wrong? You start on something else. If you're right though, you can change a whole bunch of shit, right? You can change a whole bunch of shit. You can make things work properly. You can make things better for people and their families. You can make this experience not fucking suck so much. So, I don't know, dude. Just think outside the box. Stop trying to make people agree with the shit you learned in fucking ninth grade. It's weird. It's a weird thing to do. Um, also, uh, off topic, I talked about the concept of like hemisync with my mom because she was driving and she was like, I just completely blanked out while we were talking about the Terrence Howard math stuff. And I'm where I was going, but I don't remember getting here. And like I explained to her the concept of like having two consciousnesses within one, essentially. Like two hemispheres of one mind, of one not mind, but of one brain. I guess you could say mind too, potentially, with how you look at it. But the concept of being able to have your consciousness and your mind do two different things at once, like discussing high math while also driving a car to a place, and you like kind of give more consciousness to the high math, but your brain and body are still capable of doing the operations that you need to do to get to the place. I don't know. I find that interesting. I'm going to look more into that. Anyway, I think I've babbled enough. I love you all very much. Thank you for hearing me out. As always, there's links to cool stuff in the description of the channel. I really have not been putting anything in the description of the videos because I kind of don't give a fuck. But there's lots of cool playlists for the channel. I have many, many videos. I think that some of you are new and you maybe don't know the type of being that I am, and I might say things sometimes that confuse you. You should check those videos out. Just like peruse through there, like the library. Just stroll through there, knock some videos over and watch them or something. I love you. Bye.